Thanks, Portia, and thank you for the opportunity to present today. I hope you guys find it insightful and meaningful. So I'll jump right into it. Linda, if you can switch over to the slide. I'll try and take control. Let's see if that works. Okay. So basically, I'm the head of operations at StoreAge. We are listed real estate investment trust, a REIT for short. And we start our business, entrepreneurial business that started in 2006. And we've been blessed in a way that see us now sort of operating globally. So I'll give you a rundown of what the business is all about. I'll take some questions afterwards. I'm just checking you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so that's just the outline of the presentation. I'll talk about background, some of the portfolio overview, portfolio analysis, different asset classes that Portia was mentioning earlier, and then just sort of my space, the operational overview or review of how that ties into self-storage. StoreAge is a property REIT, like I said. It's a fully integrated and internally managed real estate investment trust. We are the largest self-storage property fund and brand in South Africa. We are a highly specialized property fund, and we focus on fast-growing self-storage sector, which is a niche subsector to the sort of normal real estate space and commercial property market. We develop and acquire and manage our properties ourselves across South Africa and the UK. We service around 47,000 tenants across the portfolio of 93 properties, with 13 properties in the pipeline, 9 being in SA and 4 in the UK. StoreAge pioneered the development of high-profile big box store properties. So I'll always joke and say, imagine like it's a hotel for your stuff. We built those ourselves. And we the first listed African real estate investment trust, self-storage real investment trust globally. And there's currently only 12 of self-storage REITs in the world. Like I said earlier, backgrounds, we are a startup. We started in 2006 with our first property in StoreAge Edgemead, which is a small suburban town in Cape Town, where I'm presenting from today. And I'm going to try and fast forward through the years. 2009, we had 4 properties trading in Cape Town. 2012, the portfolio grows to 15 properties in 4 cities, sort of the major cities being Bloemfontein, Gauteng, KZN, and Cape Town. 2015, we were fortunate enough to list on the Joburg Stock Exchange with a portfolio of 38 properties. 2018 saw us do the acquisition of Storetown and All Store down in KZN, as well as the entry into UK market with the acquisition of Storage King, which at the time was the 6th largest UK brand in the UK. And we continue to grow the portfolio further to 65 properties by the end of 2018. Coming up to 2023, we just recently, about a month or so ago, opened up Bath in the UK, which was our first development completed with the Moorfield joint venture in the UK, which is an equity partner of ours. And the portfolio is currently sitting at 93 properties globally. It's just sort of a high-level overview. It sort of gives a broader picture. As you can see, we obviously got a lot more properties in South Africa than the UK. But it's interesting, our sort of revenue split between the two markets are 50-50, with the UK leading slightly with a few million on that side of the world. Like I said earlier, we service close to 45,000 tenants across the market on a monthly basis. Just furthermore, the portfolio analysis, we've got a market cap of just over 11 billion. We've got with a 50-50 split. And the interesting number I keep going back to is the 47,000 tenants. What makes StoreAge different to other asset classes in some regards, one of which being that we lease our properties or the units that we sell on a monthly basis. So it's a very flexible lease that we run with. You'll know some commercial properties, you can think like a Growth Point, and they've got a commercial lease in place with Woolworths or Checkers, these leases normally run up into a few years. We're very different. We run a month-to-month lease. So just to give you an example, in South Africa, we service about just north of 30,000 tenants in South Africa. We've got a churn rate with people moving out around 5%. So that's around 1,500 contracts that move out, essentially speaking. And then we need to take another 1,500 new tenants and even a bit more, because obviously we want to grow our occupancy. That's a total of 3,000 lease agreements that kind of changes hands, so to speak. So there's a lot of moving parts. It's quick, and clients can upscale and downscale as their needs change. But essentially, it's a lot of moving parts given the scale of the tenants we service. To the different asset classes, I spoke about the traditional sort of asset classes, the retail and commercial. You know, in retail, you find your shopping centers, entertainment and leisure facilities, and mixed-use developments. More on the commercial front, you get your office building, warehouses, and service-based businesses. Where sort of the growth we've seen in recent years around the specialized asset class, or new alternative asset classes, as some call it, is around student accommodation. I think I heard earlier somebody's talk around that. You know, I'm originally from Gauteng, and I remember when they sort of leveled Hatfield Square and started building student accommodation there. So it's definitely a special purpose-built class of its own. Retirement living, with a growing middle class and a retired population, you know, we see a great growth in the sector as well. And then obviously in our space, self-storage, you know, as mentioned earlier, you know, Growth Point, they don't operate the asset. They lease it out to Woolworths or Checkers or, you know, one of the other retailers. We own and operate our own assets with a very strong operational platform. And you know, we specialize operators in what we do. We live and breathe self-storage. But just to touch a bit more on what I do in my space, I wear many different hats, and I'll see if I can try and touch on some of it. I mentioned earlier, so the different customers across the board, a lot of pricing and sensitivity around pricing. So we've got a very flexible and responded revenue model that checks how our prices are tracking versus move out and new leases coming in. Obviously, we need to secure the goods of people that store with us, so we need to maintain the security of our properties, ranging from CCTV monitoring, heat-sensitive cameras that track our barriers in the evenings, license plate recognition models, individualized door alarms, and all of this, you know, across 57 properties tend to give us some problems every now and again, because things do break, and that's where we've got different maintenance teams that come in. A big focus of mine, especially, is efficiency and processes. We've got a process for everything in the business. You can imagine, given the scale of this business, we need to everyone be doing the same thing at the same time in the right way and towards the right direction. And a lot of my focus goes into ensuring that these processes are followed, but also at the same time ensuring that we look at better and more efficient ways of doing business. And that's a big drive of us currently. Revenue collection, sometimes the first question I get asked when people work for storage, they ask, do we do those storage wars? And I chuckle and say, no, we don't. But we do tend to go towards a place where people don't pay us, and then we need to address that through various means, be it auction eventually, but we do that off-site. But a big part of our business is that 45 teams issuing the invoices and ensuring that we are able to collect the cash for those services. Dr. Ludik spoke about AI earlier, and that I can promise you that's definitely the case in practice in our world. A lot of work goes into analytics and technology, reviewing what's out there. We embrace change. We are not fixated on how we do things and trying to keep doing it the way we've always done it. We're always looking for new and faster ways of doing things. And obviously that ties all of this together are our people. Our people are our greatest assets. These buildings don't run themselves, and we always look after our people. We've got a learning and development mindset in the business. We are a service-led culture. We try and add value to our clients' lives as best we can. And I always tell the teams that the culture you have is the culture you deserve. Our CEO doesn't go to the culture shop and buys a corporate culture. The culture is looked after by all of us. And if you're not happy with the culture, then you've got some role to play in that. I see I'm up at 10 minutes now, Portia. I've got maybe one or two slides that I'll touch on. But essentially, I think to kind of say that my role, the biggest challenge we've got is, new technology coming in, embracing that, staying ahead of the game. I used to think, when I studied, that once I get that piece of paper, I'll be done with sort of the studying part. And I'm finding myself educating myself immensely at the moment around new technology, AI, how that impacts our business, the role it plays in our business, and how we can utilize that. I see that's sort of the future going forward, where you might be educated in a certain sort of property class or property aspect, but you'll need to broaden your skill sets, because who knows what skill sets in this space would be needed in 20 years' time. So I think sort of the main drivers is, our customer targeting. We're very good. We analyze everything. We've got specialized SEO teams that looks at Google, the search functionalities within that, people's behaviors. Like I mentioned earlier, we're very efficient in our revenue management. We can predict the movement of clients coming in and out. And then, big data. Everything is data driven at the moment, and you need to have certain systems in place to review the data and make better and more informed decision making. And overlaying it with that in the future would be AI and how to optimize and speed up that decision making with better data. Portia, I think that's
Fantastic.
Sort of my story. I kind of ran through it, but happy to take some questions.
Absolutely. Carlo, thank you so much. And you covered it. You said actually something that I captured, that I wrote here. The culture you have is the culture you deserve. That's actually quite an amazing one. It's like, you must actually set the culture that you actually want to enjoy, but absolutely so. And, I know that a long time ago, I've been in the space for a while, and we used to say location, location, location. And now we're saying data, data, data. Yeah. So it's all about data. And that's what it is going to be about. So what's going to be actually be driving also your successes in the space is, yes, location will form a part of it, but more importantly now with where we are going, and Dr. Ludik actually mentioned the era of technology with AI. It's all about data, data, data. It will make you make better decisions, as Carlo said, faster decisions. That would be the kind of era that we are on now, and things are moving faster. Yes.
I think if I can add to that as well, it's garbage in is garbage out. So you need to ensure that the data that you're getting is worth it. And we question, I always say, there's no such thing as an innocent number. There's something sitting behind that number that's driving it. And you need to understand what is driving that number. Otherwise, you're going to make a decision on a number that might be incorrect. So data, yes, but to students, always question the data, make sure that it's the right information coming at you. Otherwise, you might find yourself in a spot of bother. But big data is definitely the catchphrase on the market. Yeah.
So I learned another new one. There's no innocent figure, no innocent number out there. There is there's the detail behind every single number. Well done. Thank you so much, Carlo. Thank you for that amazing opportunity to actually hear about all of these amazing specialized asset classes that are all coming up. There's a lot of them. And then storage is one that has been also growing absolutely fast. You turn left, you turn right, you see that red everywhere, and it's picking up. Yes, and there are many hours we see actually in other countries. We see also towers are also coming up and becoming listed as well. There are, among others, some of the specialized classes that are also coming up that will also be taking over, particularly in the technology space where we're talking about data connectivity and all of those. That's among those that are taking up. Are there any questions? I'm looking at my list of all my Carlo referred to you as the future. So I'm looking at the list of all my futures, if I can see any hands, and I'm also going through into the chats to see if anybody's got a question. I do have, with a vast scale of tenants in SA, do you source one or multiple facility management company for all branches. Carlo, so he's mentioning, how do you actually distribute your capacity there?
Yeah, so we've got an internal management team of our own that's got an internal management system. You know, if there's any issues, the store staff will log it on the system. They will source the quotes and load it, and then the decision's made either to outsource it or if it's fixable within the management's capabilities and skill sets. Some of the more specialized stuff we do outsource, but we've got a list of suppliers that we use, ranging, you know, if it's fencing, or it's CCTV cameras, or it's solar panels, or it's water, or it's electricity, a range of sort of these specialized maintenance suppliers we do use. Yeah, so it's not just one; it's a variety of suppliers, I would say.
Fantastic, super. There's another last one. Let's take this last one. It says, is it beneficial to integrate mechanical locks and key systems with smart AI, where one can actually access remotely of their storage security? And also, likely, would you recommend AI study and learning, especially in property? I think referring to a little bit of what Dr. Ludik has mentioned there.
So I think on the first question, it's a great question, and I can confirm that, you know, that's already happening in the overseas markets. What we're seeing is these smart locks that have certain apps available. It picks up when you're close to the facility. You get a notification. You get certain OTP pins generated, so new pins that gives you access to the unit itself, entry into the facility. We see in the US where they've got people-less buildings, where, you know, AI is used to facilitate movement on site, in and out. So yes, I think AI is going to change the way the, you know, self-storage in a whole operates fundamentally. I think South Africa is still a fair bit away, given just the world that we trade into. I think that's something that will happen more towards the developed market first, and then it will sort of slowly move over to South Africa. The second question of the rising popularity on online shopping, do you think shopping centers are becoming obsolete and companies should rather not outsource? I don't think so. I think it's also a very good question. I don't think so. You know, if you're like me, I still like going to the malls every now and again. There's a lot to do. Certainly in the US, we see the decline in malls, but what we do see a rise is e-commerce and that last mile delivery. I think there's a great opportunity there that's, you know, that we want to play a part in. Given the decentralized model that we do, we're based across the country, around 57 properties. So I don't think malls will become obsolete, but I do think last mile and e-commerce side of things and retailing is going to see a massive growth in the medium to long term.
Fantastic, super, and thank you so much for that. I mean, we will talk. There is another question that says, how's the maintenance data collection impacting on the R&M budgets?
The repair and maintenance budgets. Yeah, it all gets collected. Yeah, it all gets collected essentially, that we review and we monitor it closely. Given a property business, costs can run away. I mean, you sink 100 million rand into the ground and it takes 3 years to develop. And then you open on day one and it takes 5 years to start, you know, actually just generating a decent return. So it's a long lead time. And so we're very cost conscious. We were founded by accountants after all, and we look at every rand that's being spent. But all the data, essentially, we look at where the potential leaks are. We've got smart systems to detect leaks, leaking taps, leaking toilets. So where we do see the spikes on a weekly, monthly basis, we obviously take that data and relay it back to the maintenance team to repair.